He was an eyewitness to the shipping of the documents to the United States and England. So we know now that the English and the Americans knew a whole lot more about the German research program than they've ever released or published or let anybody know about.
Yeah. Yeah, that crash on Spitsbergen, I have a story of my own on that one, from confirmation from somebody I knew back in Norway. That was there, they was at the site. And of course they were ushered away, and then the military took over. God.
Would you like to see some pictures of the German Kugelblitz program?
I would love to. Maybe
Okay,
you can
here is
comment
a... Well,
there we go.
back up. No, this is the one we want. This book was published, it's an underground publication, published in Canada. It's written by German refugees Mattern and Friedrich. And they were working, they also were associated with the Kugelblitz research program in Germany, and they fled Germany as refugees and got asylum, obtained asylum in Canada. And from the information they had and backtracking through people that they knew and other sources, they succeeded in putting together a story of the Nazi secret weapons that did this program. And they published it in this little book, it was an underground publication printed by Samizdat, which is noted for underground publications.
Right.
It's not a very big book, but it had a lot of information in it about the Kugelblitz programs, and it was kind of a start on our research, because we first started out trying to verify the information here and found substantial verification for it, and that they were only making a summary report in this. There's a whole lot more that was going on than actually was in there. Here's
some of those pictures that you have here now coming up, were they in that book?
No.
Okay.
No. We discovered these in subsequent research. Here's a publication called Flugzeug Profile number 23, printed in Germany just about 5 years ago, where some German researchers are trying to put the programs back together, and they're working with refugee researchers out of Germany, and the report was put together by P. Mercado and an associate who are Portuguese, and it was they were investigating this story through German researchers that sought asylum in Portugal. See, Portugal was neutral, and at the end of the war, many German researchers went to Portugal.
Yeah.
They all knew that we were looking for them, and they, to escape us, many of them went to Portugal, where P. Mercado and his friend were friends and associates of many of the German exiles living in Portugal, and they were able to collect a lot of information together, even some documents in the same program that we were interested in, and they put these things together. Now, this is a summary of the disc research programs in only one factory, the BMW factory in Germany, who built the engines, the special engines for the Nazi research program, which ran on free energy and gravity control. But these were, in the BMW plant, their research is going along more conventional lines, and they were powered by jet engines. You can see the jet engine hanging underneath there between the wheels, and the relative size of the vehicle. There's a little man in the middle there in the bottom that gives us reference to scale. Here's another version. This is a two-seater version, and it still has one jet engine on the bottom between the occupants, but a little bit larger in size. Now, we're going up in size because there's a little figure up there in the top middle. Here is the next stage of research. There's the size of the man, and the vehicle is getting bigger. This one carried 4 people. The jet engines were internal. Here's another one with a jet engine in the bottom. It has it had a cockpit for 4 people. This is the same, actually it's the same craft that was top and bottom. Now here's a front view of another one. These were called Flugelrad. The first one is Flugelrad V1, then Flugelrad V2, and I think this is probably Flugelrad V top of V3, and this may be the bottom of the Flugelrad V3. You see how the jet engine was applied to the vanes in the rim. Now, there's 2 jet engines on this one, and it carried more occupants. The little man is to scale, and you can see that the ships are getting larger. They're on the order of 100 feet in diameter, or coming up on 100 feet.
They got pretty big.
Here is a Flugelrad V3 with 2 engines under it. That's a side and a top view. Here's a bottom view of the same one. It has, I think there's 4 seats in this one. This is another Flugelrad, BMW Flugelrad V3, V4. Here's a this is a V4. This is a larger one. This had 6 positions aboard. Now you see the relative size of the craft, and we'll get the little man here. There he is, standing under alongside the wheel at the bottom there, which we can barely see. There's another one climbing a ladder up there in the front. We're looking at the front half, head on and side looking at the bow, and here's the rear version of that. You can see the rear, the jet engine efflux there, and the rest of the craft in the profile view. So now here is this is one of the fireballs. This thing just rose into the air and flew through formations, scaring pilots and gathering data, collecting data in its air flight. Here is a side drawing, profile drawing of a Haunebu 2. You can see it up there in the left-hand corner. I can't read it because it's too indistinct, but this right up here, it says Haunebu 2. And here we have the performance specifications on it. This is about 100 feet in diameter, a little over 100 feet in diameter. I can't read the specifications from here, but it was
25 meters.
25 meters,
75
about
feet.
75 feet. Yeah, okay. And they ranged, the Haunebus ranged from 75 feet to 150 feet, and then there was another big version that ranged from 200 to 300 feet. And since it was an experimental program, there was no assembly line. They were all individual vehicles, all handmade, and especially made in individual vehicles. Here is a picture of one of those Haunebu 2s out of Breslau. And you can see a German Army truck, the cab of a German Army truck right down
on the
here.
left side, yeah.
And it's backed up under the flange. There's a crane here on the other side of the craft. Down here there are 3 men working under the craft that we can't see in this treatment of the picture, but they're bent over a little bit and standing up, mostly standing up under. They're working on something on the bottom, and right over here in this picture is the German Iron Cross painted on the side of the cabin there. Now notice that it has 3 portholes and a vertical side to the cabin right here, and a dome on the top, and another dome on top of that. And notice how that compares with this schematic that we just showed you. Here is the 3 windows. There's the German insignia. 3 more windows, a raised cupola on top, 3 hemispheres underneath. And here we have a photograph of one of those in flight. This is another version, a later version. Here's another picture of the same one. This is a schematic of a larger one. Now
That's the Haunebu 3.
This is the Haunebu 3, and can you see
That's
the
over
meter?
200 feet, 200 feet across.
200 feet across, 79 meters, is that what it says?
71 meters.
Anyway, that's a very large one. This one was a version that was designed actually to go to Mars and back. They were very...
And it was heavy, about 14,000 pounds.
Yeah, it was a big one, very heavy. It's much larger than one we saw the German truck backed under. Here's a version of that flying, in flight. Here's a painting by Jim Nichols, who lives in town here, of one of those in flight from some information we gave him. Here's another one in flight. They're all slightly different because they're all hand-built and separately built. Here's a Haunebu version in flight, another Haunebu version. Here we have a Haunebu 4, I believe that is, that has, here they're doing some experimental work. They've got a German Panzer tank turret mounted on the bottom upside down because in their development of these special engines, these they're kind of like rotor motors. They're built by BMW, but they were, when the engines powered by free energy, when they motored up to a certain speed, they created a gravity field around them, and everything floated in the gravity bubble. And they found that the bubble included the whole craft, and that weight didn't seem to be a limitation, and that's why they mounted the Panzer turret on the bottom upside down, seeking to put some armament on these craft. We'll get a better look at the gun here in just a second. There's another one. You can see the gun on the bottom. It's in flight. There you can see the gun quite well, and that's a cast iron Panzer tank turret inverted, mounted upside down, the bottom of that.
In the later ones, I know also one of the weapons they put on that was they call it something similar to a laser. It was a Pristron tube.
Oh, Klystron tubes. Yeah, they had those. They had They had beam weapons.
Mhm.
They had another device was the Germans called a Motorstoppel, which means it's a ray. It's a beam that stops engines, interrupts
Yeah.
ignition circuits, and caused airplane ignition engines to stop when it was the beam was turned on them. Here is another picture with the cannon turret on the bottom. Here you can see it quite clearly.
Yeah. I wonder if that was the Pristron tube.
No,
That you-
that's not
that
a
wasn't
Pristron
it.
tube. No, no, that's just a Panzer turret. Here you can see the German Iron Cross insignia on the bottom of that